In the previous sections, we looked at cloud token access through the file system, and I just wanted to add a little bit of color and practicality to this and actually go ahead and access these same tokens through a C2 of some kind. And for this workshop, we'll be using Mythic. There's no real strong need for Mythic itself. I picked it because it has good Windows and Linux support, but you can use kind of any EC2 that you're more comfortable with. The workshop materials have pretty detailed instructions on how to install Mythic itself. I've gone ahead and already done that here, and I've already gone ahead and started it. When you do start it, you should see all this Docker output where it pulls and builds all the containers. And once Mythic is up and running, we'll actually just browse to it from the host that we're going to be launching the C2 agent on. So again, this is just a lab environment. We're not going for stealth or anything like that. We just want interesting telemetry generated. So at this point, we don't have a callback yet. So that's what we're going to need to do. We're going to create the payload for the Mythic C2, and we're going to be using this Apollo payload type. And then we'll go ahead and run the payload, get the callback, and download our cloud credential file or exfiltrate it. So to do so, we'll click on this hamburger menu, go to this create menu here, and click on create payload. We'll choose the Windows operating system, click next. The executable output is fine for us, so we'll click next here. We want all the commands included, so we'll just click these two arrows here and then click next. We do want to include an HTTP C2 profile, and in this case we are just going to be using the same callback host as our Mythic is installed on, which in my case is this IP, and we're not going to be using TLS or anything like that. We're not going to be using any redirectors here. This is just a quick and dirty test. So every other value here is good to go. This is fine to leave as default. We'll click next, and then we'll click on this green create payload button, and we should see that Mythic submits the payload to the build pipeline. And once the payload is built, it should be available for download here. So we'll go ahead and download it. And in my case, I'll just start it. I'll click through all these warnings. Again, we're not, going for stealth here. And we should see a callback here. I have a bunch just because of all the testing. But to access the callback, it's this little telephone icon here with the arrow. And you can see here that I've had a whole bunch of callbacks just for testing purposes, but all these have a date associated with them and the last check-in count, so you can kind of see which one's old, which one's new. So I'll just go ahead and hide the old ones here so we don't get confused. And this is our latest callback here. So you can see the host that's calling back. It's our Windows 11 host running as the administrator user. So we'll go ahead and click on this keyboard icon here to actually interact with the agent. And then we will give it this command to download our AWS credential file. So pretty simple, just download host Win11, and then the path parameter is just our AWS credentials. So we'll hit enter. The agent goes ahead and processes the request. Eventually, we should see a success here. And if we browse to our event viewer, once this is done, and we refresh, we should see the same type of event that we were looking at earlier, but this time you can see the command here on the left finish, so we could go ahead and download our AWS credential file, and we see the event that our SACL auditing event was generated. We see it. We see the username that accessed the file that was accessed, and again the process name. And that's why the process is critical here. So you can see that, hey, this strange executable named Apollo accessed our AWS credentials. So this again is just an example of looking at cloud credential access through our C2 framework. And I thought that this might add a little bit more color and practicality to this type of event rather than just accessing our cloud credentials on the host itself. So now that we have this data generated, as a next step in the next video, we'll actually go ahead and hunt for it using our SACL events, these 4663 events, and a SIM. So I'll see everyone in that next video. Thank you.